Hello, everyone. My name is Seth, and with John Wick 4 just coming out, I thought it'd be fun to go back and take a look at the first three John Wick movies. So, believe it or not, I actually have never seen any of the John Wick movies until last week. These movies are super popular. Everybody loves Keanu Reeves, and these movies are really like right up my alley. So I have no idea why I did not see it until just recently, but I am so glad that I did. So in this video, I'm going to go ahead and kind of give you my review of the whole trilogy. But before I go any further, go ahead and hit the like button, hit subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you can receive notifications when I upload my next video. I actually really enjoyed the way I got to watch these movies. I watched them back to back to back, all at one time, like no breaks, nothing. Just I started John Wick, and then right after that ended, went straight to John Wick 2. After that, straight to John Wick 3. And now I cannot wait to find time and find somebody to go with me to see John Wick Chapter 4. Like, I am so excited for that now. Like I mentioned, these movies star Keanu Reeves, and they are directed by Chad Stahelski. And he had done a lot of work on a bunch of different movies that you'll probably recognize, doing stunts and things like that. He's an assistant director for some things, and John Wick was his directorial debut, and he knocked it out of the park. Each one of these movies, I would say, knocked it out of the park. I wish more movies could be filmed like this. As you might would expect, there's such a huge emphasis on action, and every action sequence is done so incredibly well in all three of these movies. And it's not just the hand-to-hand combat stuff, not just the gunfight stuff, like the car action sequences, any of the chase scenes, stuff like that. It's all done so well. Even though some of the action is like crazy and over the top, there still is like a groundedness to it. And I love how they take long takes and wide shots and they stick with it. That takes a lot of practice, a lot of rehearsal, a lot of training. And you can tell all of the prep work pays off in all three of these movies. There's not enough good things that I could say about the action in these movies. Like I said, I wish more action and movies could be directed like this. I love getting to see actually what's going on. One of my kind of pet peeves is really like a shaky cam when it comes to action, or super quick cuts, like a million cuts in an action sequence. Like, yes, they could be done well, but if I had a preference, if somebody were to come to me and ask me, hey, Seth, do you think we should handle the action in our movie a little bit more like the John Wick franchise or a little bit more like the Jason Bourne franchise? I absolutely, without a doubt, will say John Wick. I really love the world that they set up in the first one, and then they continue to build in the second one and in the third one. Like, I think that is so interesting, and it is so well done. They're not stopping every 5 minutes whenever they introduce a new character, introduce a new concept, and basically sitting you down and trying to explain everything. They're just kind of walking you right through it, or sometimes running you right through it, and just saying, listen, you'll get it. Just you'll catch up. Don't worry about it. And I really like that kind of filmmaking. That doesn't work for every style of movie, but it absolutely works with this trilogy. And I love how it escalates from each one. The whole world that they built with this kind of society and, the Continental Hotel and things like that is so cool. Some of the characters that they introduce are so interesting, like Ian McShane's character and Lance Reddick's character. Rest in peace to Lance Reddick. He was awesome in all three of these. I loved his character. It was just something so simple, but he just came off just so cool. Like, I think that's just the best way to describe his character. It's just so like dignified and cool. And at the heart of this is Keanu Reeves. The story is simple, and you're not asking any of these actors to give you a Shakespearean kind of performance. That would totally feel out of place in a movie like this. I think the simplicity of it is what works so well. And Keanu Reeves is amazing. I give so much props to him for doing so much of the stunts himself, so much of the action scenes, and you can tell it's him. Like, because of the shots, because of how they film everything, the long takes and everything, there's not a ton of places to hide. Obviously, he can't do everything, insurance and everything on movies. Like, Tom Cruise is just about the only person that can do whatever he wants in terms of stunts. But I give so much credit to him. I think that's another thing that helps ground these movies. And he fully commits, and he does such a good job bringing heart to this. You really fall in love with his character right in the beginning of the first one. You see a little bit of his relationship with his wife. You see a little bit of his relationship with his dog, and you just want what's best for him. I remember thinking while I was watching the third one, I was probably about halfway through, and I was just thinking, man, I hope all of this ends well for John. I think he deserves a happy ending. Like I said, they kind of step it up each movie, but not only in stakes for the characters and in the story, they step it up in the action as well. That opening sequence in chapter 2, where he's getting his car back, that was so well done. I loved that. That was one of my favorite sequences in that movie. Really, just about every action sequence in part 3, it's almost like it tries to top itself in the movie. Not just, we got to go back and top what we did in chapter 2. No, so we have to top the last action sequence we did. And I loved the action sequence on the motorcycles. I loved that whole fight scene at the end. Like, that was crazy. Like, I was sucked into the TV. Like, I could not pull my eyes away for that whole last part. I loved that opening part where he's trying to go and use that hour wisely before he's excommunicated. And I loved the addition of Halle Berry in the third one. She did such a great job. And again, the action sequences with her and with the dogs were so well done. Like, it was just so cool. Anytime there was an action sequence, like, I could not look away. I wanted to take it all in. And another thing I wanted to mention is their use of color, especially in chapter 3, with all of the nighttime scenes, especially there at the beginning with the rain, all of like the neon lights and everything. It is so well done. And that's one thing I wanted to make sure to bring up, is just the filmmaking overall, especially there at the end of chapter 2, where they're kind of in that mirror lounge, the reflection lounge or whatever. That must have been so incredibly difficult to shoot. And it would have been easy for them to say, you know what, no, that's just too hard. Let's just do something else somewhere else. We can find something else that'll work just so I know. They wanted to do that because of how visually interesting that is. And they took that on and they nailed it. These aren't just dumb, fun action movies. They have some really cool filmmaking behind it. Going into it, I never really thought that watching all 3 in a row like that would pay off as much as it did, but it absolutely did. Like, that was just kind of a special experience, getting to see all 3 right in a row, how they all lead into each other. Like, that was just so cool. Of course, I've gushed about these movies for however long so far, so I guess it's only fair for me to bring up some negatives. Like I said, the story is super simple. I don't think it needs really anything else, but with the story being what it is, it's not gonna win any screenwriting awards. So other than like the main few characters you follow, there's not a lot of development in some of the secondary or tertiary characters. They're just kind of there to be an obstacle for John Wick. Maybe some of those characters could be a little bit more robust. Maybe one other thing I could say is we don't really see a ton of character development from 1 through 3. But again, like I said, I don't really necessarily know if you need it for the story that they're telling. And again, maybe once they finish the franchise, one to however many more they're going to make, maybe then you watch them all in a row and then you'll see the whole big picture. But again, that's just some nitpick stuff. I had so much fun with these, and I'm so excited for some of the spinoffs that they're working on. Like, before I watched these, I was like, yeah, do they really need these? I don't know if I really care. But after seeing this John Wick trilogy, I thought, yeah, I absolutely want more from this world, and I'm super excited for any of the spinoffs that they're working on. I believe they're working on one starring Ana de Armas, and I think that'll be awesome. But I love these three movies. I think probably the second one might be my least favorite, and I don't know, either the first one or the third was my favorite. It's kind of a coin flip, I think, for me at this point. But I had so much fun. If you are like me and you had not seen these before, go ahead and give them a watch. They're on Peacock. You can watch all three in a row, back to back to back, just like I did. I think if you were to really press me on my favorite, I would say the third one, just because some of that action was just literal top notch. It was so great. So I would probably give the first one a 4 out of 5 stars, the second one a 3.5 out of 5 stars, and the third one a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Again, if you have not seen these, I highly recommend them. They are so much fun. And even if you have seen these, I recommend going back and watching them again, because I probably will be going back and watching these again sometime soon. So that's it. That's my review of the John Wick trilogy. I'm so excited to see John Wick Chapter 4. Whenever I get around to seeing it, I will bring you guys a review of John Wick Chapter 4. If you want to stay connected, go ahead and follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at CinemaSeth, and go ahead and like the video, hit subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you can receive notifications when I upload my next video. And I'll see you next time.